Hi, so we're back to our normal programming with Omarchy after my side quest into Steam OS. Now, interesting thinking about that. Once I had Steam OS on my machine, I had a bit of a rush of whatever to my head, and I thought, oh, I wonder if I could write a script to put DaVinci Resolve on Steam OS. And because I've got an AMD card, that's incredibly hard to do, and I couldn't get it, and I ended up breaking Steam, and I couldn't be bothered to reinstall it. So now I now have another drive on my system with a broken OS on it, but we'll come back to that. So on that subject of like writing scripts and coding, AI coding has become a bit of a thing, in a good way and a bad way, whereby you look at professional developers and stuff, they are sort of using it. Some companies are using it too much. Some people really frown upon it. But what can it do for you? What can it do for you? I mean, it helps me a lot. I mean, in many ways, you come up with an initial idea to do something, and instead of like, you can write a bit, and then you can give it to the AI, and the AI can go, okay, this is how you actually can do it. And then you can go from there, and you can build amazing stuff. Like my game script, a lot of it's been written by AI, partly because I just couldn't figure out how to do bits. And before the advent of AI coding, it was really hard to get things done. You'd have to read manuals. That's bad. We're not into that. We have to read things, and I don't know. There was a lot that went into it. My background in programming starts in 1982. I think it was 82. Our school had a 380Z research machine, and if you Google that, they're like, the keyboard to that is in the National Science Museum. It's that old. And me and a group of friends, we wrote a game called Snake on there in CPM. And then later on, I did assembly language machine code. I had a Dragon 32, a VIC-20, and then I went into the military. We had rather big computers there to play with. So I did a fair bit in my early years, then just left it alone. Then I went into post-production years later, and Linux turned up because you use Linux a lot for stability in post-production. So you ended up writing lots of bash scripts to do stuff for workflows and bits and bobs. And that's where it sort of comes from me. It's like you couldn't get it to do something. You needed to get A to B to C. You'd write a script, and the script would make that bit of the workflow. That would encode it. FFmpeg or something would do that bit. And you just, you put a file in here, it would go over there, it would start. Now this sounds like nothing now, but back in 2000s or whatever it was like that, doing these kind of things was quite good. Anyway, so I left all that alone. Now I moved over to Omarchy to do so, because Mac I found very difficult to get my head around how you do scripting on. I did AppleScript, I did some of that. I tried to go a bit further, but it just wasn't there. But Omarchy was hilarious. It was sort of, because it's been written by a developer, but put together by a developer for developers, all the toys are there. And because of the way that it's laid out, it's super simple to just write stuff and make stuff up. And so, yeah, so what we're going to do in this video, I'm going to have an idea, we're going to get an idea, we're going to give it to an AI, we're going to get another AI to check it, and then we're going to run it. And we're going to make a script that you could use to do something. And then we'll put it into an interface or something. And it doesn't take too long. And I'll show you the sort of AI tools that come with Omarchy, not like normal LLMs where you chat GPT it, but like command line, which is actually really useful because it can actually do it to your system, and you don't need to copy and paste scripts and stuff. It's just does it. So yeah, and Omarchy's got this all just loaded, ready for you to go. You just need a couple of subscriptions or not. You can do Gemini, which is free. Anyway, we'll go through this. But it is really interesting that when you now have a problem, especially with Linux has always been like this bearded gatekeeper platform that you find a guy on a forum who tells you, but he insults you, that you're an idiot because you're asking these questions. But you don't need them anymore. Because of the AI, you just ask that and it tells you how to do it. And it just has pushed it outside the bounds of the weirdos that wouldn't let you or help you use Linux, which is amazing, because obviously getting more people to use Linux means that it's, it gets out there, and hopefully in the future we'll see it as a much bigger part of the operating, systems that we can use. But it's great because it's just cut that whole, the gatekeeper thing. They're gone. They just stick it in the AI and forget about it, and you can get on with it. Why is this happening? What's bash? What's this? You just ask an AI, and it's really, really useful. So my screensaver's kicked in here. So yeah, I mean, I remember early days of this for me. It was very hard. You'd ask a question, and obviously you get very condescending answers. It was very difficult, quite vicious. Read the manual, all these type of things, and some people have given me grief as well for using Omarchy because it's a Hyprland with a load of scripts. And there's been a couple of people that have said in comments that it's much more satisfying to build Arch from scratch and do that. No, it's not. I don't care, and I'm not interested in building operating systems from scratch. I want to actually use an operating system to make something else. Operating systems are nothing in their own right, are they? They're just things, and you make stuff out of them. So no, I don't really want to build an Arch installation on my own. David DHH has done a great job with this, thanks. And now I can make things, and now I can move over to Linux. Anyway, with all that said, well, that ramble went off at the end there, a bit of a rant. But what we do now, we'll jump in, we'll have a look how you set up the AI tools, and then we just do a script. So with that said, let's dive in. Okay, so here we are, desktop, Pacman theme, Omarchy 3.2. Where do they keep the AI tools? So super alt space gets up to memory, and then you can install. Then down here, there's this window called AI. Now in previous videos, I've looked at Llama and LM Studio. But what you want to do if you want to do scripting, write bash scripts or coding, you want to install either Claude Code, Cursor CLI, we're not doing that in this one, Gemini, or OpenAI CodeX are the ones we're going to look at. Now, once you install that, it'll launch. Let's see if it just does it. My password is my old one. And it's in there, error failed commit, corrupt package checksum. No packages are upgraded because I've got it on there already. Okay, hang on, let's get back into that. Install, and then AI. So you do the same with each one. And to activate them, we'll show you how you do it. You basically type the word. So it's you either type Codex, Claude, or Gemini, and it will be launched into an activation window. So let's go to like a coding window here. Okay, so let's set up for a project. So I've got a clean window here. I'm going to open Konsole. I'm going to open Konsole again. Gives me two of them. I'm going to open a file finder. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in and use a working directory. So I want to get work. So in this one, I'm going to go cd work. And then inside that work one, I've got a project folder, and I'm going to call it's called project. So cd project. Okay, so I'm inside that folder now. And over here, I'm going to do the same. cd work, just do that. I mean, obviously, there's quicker ways to do this, but I'm just going to do it step by step. cd project even. Right, so I'm in on both of those terminals. I could split them, but I'm just doing this so I could show you, because with Konsole you can split them. So I'm basically working inside that folder now. The computer's looking inside there. So I need an idea. So over here, I think it's Shift O. Right, I've got my script that I've sort of put together. And this is the prompt. You need to give a prompt for your AI to write something. So I've got write a bash script for Arch Linux that detects whether you've got Yay or Paru is installed for AUR updates. Now I had this earlier on, my updater broke, so I had to fix it. But now I was thinking about this, so I've got this. Show a simple text menu, show basic system information, full system update with Pacman, update your AUR packages, clean up orphan packages, that's always useful, and then quit. Error handling, gracefully use functions, print clear messages, make it safe and understandable. Now, how did I get that? I came up with the idea I needed something to sort of clean up orphan packages because my system had broken. So I asked an AI to write a prompt, and it came in back without a prompt. So I've just got the idea, and it's given the prompt. So on this window over here, we're going to start Claude. Now, to start Claude, the first time you'll type this, and it will launch, but it'll ask you to log in. And you can, if you're logged into Claude with Google, now you need, I think it's a Claude Pro account or a Claude normal account, not a free one, just a paid one. You get Claude Code. So you get into it. So, okay, so I'm going to say this. So write a bash script. I'm going to grab that, he says. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to put that there. And now remember, Claude is operating inside that projects folder. It's not seeing anything out the side. So I'm going to just give it that to do. and off it goes. Now, because one AI is great, but two AIs are better when it comes to coding. On this window over here, we're going to launch CodeX. And there's when you do the first time you launch CodeX, release notes. Oh, it's an update. Update now. So once you, basically what you can do once this is finished, you can get CodeX to check your Claude code. So you've got two AIs. One's checking the other one's work. Now, the one on the right here, Claude's finished, he's written a script. Do you want to create Arch System Manager script? And I'm going to say yes. And down here in our file manager, it's actually created it. And it's made it executable. Yep. So what we're going to do, we're going to go over to CodeX. Now it's updated. Allow CodeX to work in this folder without asking for a movie. Yeah, that's fine. Now, this is be careful. You don't want to launch either of those at the top level because that means it can do anything in your system. And I highly recommend, like I do, I have a clean installation with nothing personal on it or anything like that to do coding. So don't do it on a system or on a partition or anything that you've got stuff you want because it can access stuff, obviously. But just to be safe, because you know what you're doing, just do a clean install on something, have an external drive with your development environment on it and keep it separate from everything else. So try a new model. What do you like? Try a new model? What model have we got? 5.1. Okay, so now CodeX is running in the other window. So what do? I can just go check this code for bugs and pull that over, pop it in there. And now CodeX will check this code and it'll look through it. Oh, did I let that go? Yeah. Anyway, that's just made that executable. I forgot to press enter. So now on the right-hand side there, it's giving me a summary of what it does. So now that one's chugging away over the side. So what we'll do down here, it's telling me what it's doing. It's carefully examining the script. Okay, so let's close this one. Let's open another console. I could, obviously, as I said, I could split this, but because this is the one I'm going to use to run it, to test it. So there we go. Still doing it. CodeX does take a bit of time, but it's interesting. Claude's very quick. Now, I've not used Gemini. Gemini's free in a personal account for Google, but it takes forever. And the current one isn't brilliant. I think 3 is amazing. Okay, so CodeX come back with loads of checks. So, okay, so I'm basically going to feed this copy back into Claude and let's see what Claude thinks of it. And it comes up with good catch. I'm glad you found that. It's like, that's not me, is it really? Thinking about it. Excellent catch. All those issues. You're absolutely right. Yeah, right. I didn't do anything. Subtle bugs and partial upgrade risk. Let's fix them all. So it'll just go through now. And I'll just have to press enter to make it do its thing. You have to think now. Yes. Now I'm interested when you see these, like anybody could write an adverts on YouTube and whatever it was called, base 41 or something. I mean, with this, you can build something. I mean, you've got a subscription to ChatGPT or Claude. You can build something really powerful, and it's whatever you want. You're not limited, are you, because you can use Zenti, you can use a thing in a minute called Gum to build a TUI. Yep. So yeah, it's checking. And now, what I like to do one more time with this, I'll go back. Right, fix more. So I can now go back over to CodeX and say, all these bugs have been resolved. And see what that thinks of it. Glad to hear those have been addressed. Want me to take another quick pass? Yes, please. They didn't say yes, please. Yes. Going to be rude to the AI. So it's going to have another look back in that folder at that code. And we'll let it have one more go, and we'll give those answers back to Claude, and then we'll run the script and give it a test. But I found this is a really good way of, when you're making stuff, it's like Claude whacks it out. You give it to CodeX and it has a good check. Give those back, and then the second time round, it's because basically CodeX starts to get a bit too in depth, and it gets a little bit too into its own mind, and it starts to change things which may not necessarily need to be changed. So I'm verifying that the check updates exit codes have been done. Analyzing. Now that's using OpenAI, whatever it is, ChatGPT 5.1 over there, medium. So it's not like super deep think, but you can change it. If you look at here, there's shortcuts, commands, and stuff you can do to change the way it thinks. Think about exit codes, analyzing script, reviewing update and author removal logic. But you can understand how, especially with Linux, it's really, really simple. Let's have a look. I've got a few more. Let's have a look at this. Let's grab those. Copy. Paste. And let's see what Claude makes of that. I think after this one, when Claude's come back, update the script, we'll run it and see how far we've got. You're absolutely right again. I made an incorrect assumption. It's like, I need to write a script to just let these two talk to each other automatically, and then I can just sit back, and I need to write a script to press yes, and then just let these two talk. But I think the problem is it's like it just goes on and on and on. And I think about 3 times I've used CodeX where it's actually telling me, said, I think this code's okay. But you can see, I mean, it's not having to go, not against developers this, but if you're doing stuff at home and you've got a simple need, a simple thing to do something, this is a brilliant way to do it. Okay, so it's checked it all, it's happy. So what we're going to do now, because it's already CX modded, I'm going to run it. So I'm going to drag it over here. Okay, and it's running. So it says Arch System Manager started, detect AR. So 1, show system functions. There we are. And it's got hostname, kernel, root, memory, warning, check update not found, install Pacman contrib to enable. Interesting. Now I've just switched to Edge packages on Omarchy, so I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. 3, let's do 3. Or 2, full system update. Okay. 3. Yeah, what I've got there, searching by input Python. Yeah, I know. This is an error I had earlier. This is part of me breaking my full system update. Will it do it? 2. Oh, there, full system update. So my weird password. And now it's going to do just like when you run it in Omarchy, it's doing an update now. And what was the last one? Clean orphan files. Error, failed to query orphan file, Pacman exit code 1. Okay, now, how you fault find? You just do this. Copy that, put that back in there. And now, because you've got the errors coming out of your console, it will now check what the error is and rewrite it. So let's just quit out of this 5. I see the issue. I made an incorrect assumption about Pacman Qt exit codes. Then when there are no orphans, let me fix this for you. There we go. Oh, not that one. That one. See, bouncing between CodeX and bouncing between Claude, they'll work it out. Okay, so now it's done it. So let's rerun that. Back over here. And clean up orphan. What was the one that broke? Success. No packet thing is found. Now let's just double check they all worked. Show basic system info. Enter. 1. Enter. That's the basic system information. 2. Full system update. That's fine. 3. Update from AUR. Yeah, no, I've got a problem with that anyway. I know that. 4. Enter continue. 4. Yeah. and then 5 is quit. Okay, and there you go. So now I've got, if I couldn't click the Omarchy button, or if I was on any other distribution of Linux of Arch, I now have a little script I can run. So let's make that better. Let's turn this into a TUI using Gum. Now, this is where you need to know a little bit about the system. Gum's something that you can use to make TUIs. Turn, I'm not even spelling turn properly. Turn into a TUI using Gum. So now it will go off and have a think. Now, once it's done the first time, I'll put it back into CodeX. And basically, here we go. Great idea. See, this is why it's so nice working. I've worked with developers before and they just swear at you. But this is telling me it's a great idea. I'll convert the script to Gum using a much nicer TUI experience. Let me enhance it with Gum interactive components. It's great. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the thing is, I wrote a bash script once for something to do with file conversion. I got it broke. It didn't work the first time, but it worked later. But the result, my output from all my effort there, someone swore at me. This isn't going to swore at me. It's a great idea. This is why, having a personal assistant to do this stuff is much better than the normal coding experience I've had. So now it's got to think. It's going to go off, have a good think about it. Here we go. You can watch those tokens whiz. $4,000 tokens. Okay, so it's written again. How do we do this? Gum style for beautiful headers. Style minute. Now it'll run from script. Yeah, I could go on forever with this. I could turn it into an app that installs into Walker. Let's just see what it does now. We aren't going to run it. I'll see what happens first of all and see what happens. And if there is errors, we'll give it to CodeX to check because I have a bug checker. There we go. Look at that. Here's our little thing. Our system manager with a navigation. System info. What's it done there? Errors. So let's just do this. Grab all that. Copy. Paste. And then run it through Claude again. Here you can see the process here. This just goes on backwards and forwards between them. And in the end, it'll work. I see the issue. The problem is that I'm using a Gum style when the command substitution expands the spaces that are being treated as multiple arguments. Let me fix the system. Right, here we go. So let's quit that. That's still running. Okay, so probably now is a good chance to send it over to check this for bugs. And off it rombers. Now, I'm not going to take you all the way through this, but what you would do next is once you've got it working as a TUI, then you don't want it to go full screen. So then you have to you'll instruct it to pop into the center in a predetermined size and become a menu item in here. Basically like this, like you can see I've done with other bits. Where are we? Where's your red pill? Somewhere in here, red, there. So something like red pill, that will actually, basically become an app. So look, it's come back with all these thoughts. Give those thoughts back over. And obviously Claude's going to go amazing because he thinks it's me, but it's not. It's another AI. So I think the lesson I'm trying to take away with this, Linux isn't hard because you've got access to these things for scripts and codes and stuff like that. You've got like on here, you've got Super Shift A takes you into ChatGPT straight off or whatever AI you want to go into. And so basically that's going to answer a lot of questions. But if you needed to do a system operation, you can Google or you can literally do this and write a script to do it. I mean, fundamentally, Omarchy is like a load of scripts, bash scripts have been put together to build Omarchy. You know, pulling down all those files, that's all scripting. And if you go onto the Omarchy Git, you can go in there and it's all .sh, because that's how this has been assembled. So, you know, don't fear it. If there's something, let's just give this one last go before we switch it off. Let's just give it one last go. There we go. So show system info. There we go. I've shot the fast forwarding wrong. Nice. Update from AUR. Yeah. Enter. Clean up from packages. Yeah. Quit. There you go. So yeah, so that's working. So that was that 10-15 minutes to make a script to do that. You have to have the initial idea and just a workflow to bounce between each of the windows. Anyway, let's come back over here and let's just go back to me. So it's not, AI coding is not, I don't think, something to be feared. I think that if you've got a broken script or something like that, if you've got Claude in the command line, you can, you know, if you've got problems and errors, it's brilliant. I mean, you can do this normally with ChatGPT. You could just like grab a screenshot error on Linux, drag it into ChatGPT, and it'll tell you what the problem is, especially if you've got Hyprland. So, I mean, that's going to give you those things. But doing it like this, you can actually grab that Hyprland config and put it in, copy it, put it into Claude or Codex or Gemini, not Gemini so much, I don't trust that one. Put it in there, and then basically I'll tell it this is what's going on. Give it the image as well, explain the problem, and it'll tweak it for you. I mean, I'm not talking about like writing massive database systems for, you know, healthcare with this. This is basically just fixing the problems on your operating system. Imagine doing this with Windows. How many times have you had like a DLL error of some kind and it said something in the registry? Wouldn't it have been great just to grab the registry, put it in, tell the AI this is going on, and then it tells you the answer? Or I want to do this. I did this the other day, and it's just really weird. We have a job came in where we had to resize hundreds of images to a particular dimension. They had to become JPEGs, and we didn't have very long to do it. And you'd start, oh, I can do a batch script. And no. So I actually did it for Windows. I wrote a Python thing with AI that basically you just point at a folder, and this is like a back to the day when I was doing post-production, pointed it out of the folder, told it out there, and it just zipped through these files in, I think, about 15 minutes. They were massive files, and they all had to be 72 DPI JPEGs to go onto a website. And they just blitzed it, and it just did it. And that's what this stuff is really good at, writing Python scripts and scripts that speed up your workflows. Someone I watched, I think it was the Primogen, was going, I've got all this automation in my life, but I've still got no time. This is interesting. It's like this stuff's it's supposed to make our lives easier, but it ends up making it more complicated. But what I found with this, especially with the Omarchy, is you can decomplicate your life because you've got help. You can just go, I don't know how to do that. You don't spend hours Googling. It can write it for you. Anyway, I hope that's useful. It's a really interesting subject, and you can achieve a lot. And Omarchy is brilliant for this. It's really inspired me to go back to doing coding again, because, I mean, I know this will make DHH happy because he's a coding guy, but it's really simple. It's really well laid out. If you do this on another Linux distribution, you have to do all the weird stuff like add Claude to your path and all these extra steps. But this, it just goes. You start coding, start doing stuff, you know? It's brilliant. Anyway, I hope that's some use. And as ever, thanks for watching.